guys, how are you? I've missed you terribly. This week we are going to do something a little bit more crafty, okay? I know that this has been a difficult time for everybody, especially giving you a lot of art history assignments, so I apologize. But the next 3 weeks are going to be fun, kind of crafty projects. I'm going to be giving you guys kits that you can pick up at school, or if you can't make it to school, I want you to let me know and send me your address, and I will ship all of the materials to you, okay, as soon as I can. So I'm hoping I can figure out who needs me to mail them stuff, so that I can ship them out tomorrow, so you guys can get them as soon as you can. Today I'm going to do a little demonstration of the first project that you guys are going to be doing out of kind of a 3-week fun little project piece where we're going to be making our own stained glass windows. Ooh. And we're going to be using different types of materials. So each person is going to have a kit available for pickup at school, and in each of the kits there's going to be all the supplies that you're going to need for the next 3 weeks. Okay, so you're going to have black construction paper for the next couple of weeks, but we're not going to use that for this week. You will also have a couple of pieces of transparency film. Okay, you will also have everybody will get a glue stick. Everybody will get their own X-Acto knife, and you guys will get a stack of tissue paper. I'm assuming that you have scissors at home, and I also, if you would like to pick up some sort of mat board to cut on so that you're not cutting on anything, you could use a cutting board at home. You could use any type of cardboard or anything like that, or I can give you a piece of mat board as well that you can cut on. Today I'm going to be doing a demonstration of what your first project is kind of going to look like. I hope that your piece is going to be a little bit more dynamic than mine. I'm going to use this, although for my demonstration, I'm going to cut it in half. You guys are going to use the entire paper, okay, the entire transparency. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making our own little kind of stained glass window without any kind of lead or black border. And a lot of the medieval pieces that you guys learned about in the Gothic cathedrals, they kind of have lead in between the stained glass pieces. And so that we're going to show with black construction paper in the next week's assignment. But for this week, we're just going to kind of make a little bit more modern, fun, what looks like what you could do for a stained glass piece. Okay. So I'm going to convert this into a, I'm going to use my little document camera, and so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing on the table, and this will kind of go, I'll create a few pieces to show you, and then I'll jump ahead to what it could look like at the end. Okay? So let's get crafting. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be cutting out some different shapes. Now, the theme for this piece can be whatever you want. You can make just basic shapes, or you can do what I'm doing, which is I'm going to be making kind of a botanical theme. Okay, so I'm going to be using tissue paper and creating kind of a botanical look. I'm actually going to take a couple pieces of tissue paper in different colors, and I'm going to pile them on top of each other so that when I'm cutting, I'm not just cutting one tiny little piece of tissue paper. I'm going to be cutting 4 pieces and making similar shapes. So I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife. You want to make sure that your X-Acto knife tip, I know my camera here is having a hard time focusing. You want to make sure that the tip is screwed in. So if it's loose and this guy comes out, you want to screw this in as well as you can so that the tip of the blade doesn't come out, okay? When you're cutting with an X-Acto knife, you want to cut with the side portion, okay? This is where the blade is, so you want to actually kind of cut at an angle and not straight up and down, okay? Because the blade is kind of at the angle. So what I'm going to do is, for my first piece, I am going to not cut off my fingers, it looks like I'm going to do. I am going to just quickly grab a pencil, because I like to kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to make kind of a botanical piece. So I'm going to cut a couple flowers. Okay. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to start kind of at the edge, and then I'm going to make sure I'm going all the way through. That's why it's important that you have some sort of mat board. And see how I'm holding the paper too, so I'm not, and every time I start, I'm starting and going out, and then I'm holding the tissue paper. Okay, I'm going to go back into this point. That's important that you have, like I was saying, a piece of mat board, okay, that you cut on, or you could have a piece of cardboard, but you want to make sure that you're not going to cut onto the table, because you're going all the way through the tissue paper. You'll make marks on whatever you're cutting on. So notice how I'm not just going all the way around. I'm breaking it up into little sections, and I'm making sure that I hold the tissue paper down, okay? This is the easiest way for me to do it, and I'm always at an angle, okay? So here's that. I'm going to, and I have a variety of little pieces. Where'd my yellow? Oh, there's my yellow. So here I have a variety of pieces. Okay, so I'm going to put those to the side. I'm going to do this again. A lot of people don't know the best way to use an X-Acto knife, and they typically like to use the tip like this. And when you do that, you're not cutting it with the blade. It's like a knife. So you want to make sure that if it's at an angle, that you're getting a nice clean cut. So if you're having trouble cutting the paper, the tissue paper, okay, you want to make sure that you're at an angle as much as possible. I'm kind of going into the cracks. This looks like a little bit better. I'm holding down each piece. I'm sorry if you can't see it completely. I'm trying to maneuver what you can see, what you can't see. Okay, so here is, and I want to make sure that I'm really overlapping. Here's my next set of little flowers. Okay, boom. Now I'm going to make, because this is going to be slightly botanical, I'm going to take the green, and I'm going to take the blue. I'm going to take a couple of sheets of blue, and then I'll take a couple of sheets of green, even though I made green flowers. Whatever, it's fine. And now I'm going to make some leaves to add to my little piece. So I'm just going to draw out some leaf shapes in different sizes that I'm going to put around. And again, I'm going to hold my tissue paper down. I'm working with about 4 layers of tissue paper, so this is working pretty well. My X-Acto knife is cutting through it. I think almost cutting 1 layer of tissue paper You just have to be really careful and hold it down. And kind of see what I'm doing. And make sure that you go in your edges completely cross so that it comes up. You don't want any ripping. The leaves are really easy to do. Okay, and then I'm going to do one other example of a different flower. So here's my leaves. I'm going to take my leaves off. Put them in my little pile of stuff that you can't see yet. So they should just pop out. If they don't just pop out like that one, okay, I'm going to just go over here and I'm going to recut this edge to make sure they come off. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to these pieces, but I am not going to use my green because I just used green for some other stuff. I'd like to use some red and maybe another pink. Okay. So I know I'm going to flip this over because I want to see where I'd already cut out stuff. And maybe I'm going to make like a tulip form. Ooh, this is a terrible tulip. Okay. So I'm going to hold my tissue paper down. And I'm going to cut around. Don't cut your nail like I just did. Notice how I'm going back and forth. I'm lifting up my X-Acto knife every time I go back and forth. Okay, and there I've got some little tulips. And what other things shall I make? I don't really like the look of the tulip, so let's try another flower. Let's go with I don't know, we'll go with like a flower like this. Like it could be a rose or something. And then I could do a smaller one over here. Okay. Do you guys like my thought process here? I'm just thinking out loud. So I'm lifting up, going around. So mostly it's just cutting. So instead of cutting glass, we're cutting tissue paper. Okay, so here's a small little cluster. Dun, 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 dun. They look like clouds more than flowers, but you guys will see what I'm going to do with them. And then it'll look like flowers. And the nice thing is that you guys each will get your own X-Acto knife, and they're nice and sharp because they're brand new. So that you can complete this. And with a nice sharp X-Acto knife, it's really easy. The ones that are dull. Okay, so here's some more flowers. Okay, so I just cut out a variety of them, and how is this going to look? Well, I'm just put my film down. Okay, and now what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to use my good old Elmer's glue stick. Okay, and I'm going to start. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to start in the center, and I'm just going to coat some Elmer's glue in the center. And I'm going to pick out one of my flowers, and I'm going to paste it on. And then I'm going to pick out you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick out another flower, and I'm going to put it on. See, they're multi-laid flowers. Now with tissue paper, you have to be really careful because it smudges, like it curls up really easily. So now I'm going to start to put my flowers all over the page, and then I can kind of stick some leaves in between them as well. The idea is that you want to overlap things. So if they start to buckle like that, you just kind of want to smooth them with your finger. If you overlap, make sure that you add a little bit of glue so that they stick. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to alternate. Oh my gosh, what color should I do over here? Maybe I'll do this guy over here. I don't think I glued this spot. I like the look of the little multi-layered, so I'm going to put another little guy in here. I'll make this one yellow. So then I'm going to put one over here. And I like to overlap, so I'm just going to kind of glue them down as I go around. Okay. Now, other things that you could do if you don't want to do a botanical piece like with flowers, you could do shapes, just different shapes, like different circles, stars, hearts, different things like that. So you can see how this is getting to be multi-dimensional, meaning that there's kind of things stacked on top of each other. It's not just completely flat. So I need a yellow. Put a yellow, and I'm just kind of spreading the colors out. And I'm going to put a little guy in here. And let's make that little guy pink. We need some pink over here at the bottom. Put a little tulip over here. It's pink. Again, layering, making sure that I have glue down. You don't really want to put glue down over the whole thing at first because the glue will dry fairly quickly. So you kind of want to just work in sections at a time. So then I'm going to continue to put some little leaves down. I always wait to do that till later. And I'm going to end up covering this whole piece with this great little tissue paper design. And then I'm going to show you kind of what it could look like. Okay,